Coming past the 8th pole, it's Ruffian in front by 7 lengths. Something Regal on the outside, second point in time. The other's now far back as Ruffian draws away to lead by 9. It's Ruffian in front and going easily.
Hello, it's Bob Pandolfo, and welcome to my YouTube channel, and we're going to do some thoroughbred handicapping in this power pace segment. I'm going to talk about the track bias stats, which are in the Brisnet past performances. In their ultimate past performances, at the end of each race, they show you these stats, and they're basically, the track bias stats are based on the distances. And in this particular race that I'm going to look at here, it's a 6 furlong dirt race. So let's just look at it and see what they mean. So here it shows that for the meet, which started on November 23rd, this is from November 23rd to March 8th. This is I'm looking at past performances from a Saturday on March 11th. So it shows out of 95 races, 36% of the winners went wire to wire, and then you go down here to the styles. The early horse, the horse is red, that is an E or an E++, won 6 furlong races on the main track 44% of the time. Horses that had an EP style of running, which would be an early runner or a pace presser, won 35% of the 6 furlong races. So basically between these two running styles, it combined for 79% of the winners. And then the late closing styles, like the P and the S, S means sustain, that only combined for a total of 21% of the winners. Now that doesn't mean that you can't bet these kind of horses in a 6 furlong dirt race, but if you're gonna bet them, you want to get higher odds. So like, let's just say that there's a horse that's going off at 8-5 and he's a sustained horse. He has an S style, and it's a 6 furlong dirt race at Tampa Bay. I wouldn't bet that horse, because the chances are he's not going to win, because he's that style only wins at 8%. He's probably going to come in like second or third. But if he's 8-5, he's clearly not a good bet. If he's 15-1, and you think that he's sitting on a good race, and you think there's going to be a good pace in front of him now, set him up for a good closing kick. Maybe you take a shot then. But you see what I mean. I mean, you have to be careful. Generally speaking, on dirt races in America, in North American racing, especially on dirt tracks, you're always better off, trying to concentrate for your key horses on horses that leave the gate well. Now that doesn't mean that you don't look at finish. You want horses that can finish well too, but you're better off with horses that can stay close to the pace and finish, as opposed to horses that lay far back and finish. And the statistics bear that out at a lot of these distances. Now actually it's a little different on turf, but it depends. But this goes to show you that in this particular running style, this particular distance, 6 furlongs on dirt, Tampa Bay, you're better off with the horses that are going to be close to the pace. Now, how do you know, who's an E and who's an EP, who's an S? Well, they show you down here, they have a running style. So you can see that in this race, there are some E's, EPs, and here's 2 P's. So, there's actually 3 pressers in the race that don't have an E next to them, which means that their chances of winning are less. Over here, the PTS, that's points. That's the Kieran speed points. Bill Kieran, William Kieran was a math professor at C.W. Post years ago. He wrote some books on handicapping. He developed these Kieran speed points. So this basically shows you how much potential a horse has to be on or near the lead. Abe, honestly, in this race has a 7, which is the best, which means he seems more likely to get the early lead. Mr. Kieran was a very nice guy. I spoke to him a number of times. He was, a wizard of mathematics. So that's how you use that. Now, and I can tell you right now too, when you're looking at key horses, like say you're looking for a horse that you want to bet to win, or you want to key it in exactas, so you need it to run first or second. You're always better off with horses that leave the gate. I have a book I wrote It's out of print, but I still sell it in PDF form. It's called Power Pace Handicapping. This is it right here. So this also comes with a software system. It's actually on sale now because, like I ran out of the book, so I reduced the price. So it's a great deal. You get the you get the software, and you get this book. And this book is probably the best book I've ever written on thoroughbred handicapping. In this book, you can see it says here, I introduced the speed and stamina spot play method. Now what that is basically in this book I show you how to handicap, particularly route races, but I also have a section on sprint races where I show you how you're better off keying horses that can stalk the pace or leave the gate well, but they can finish well too. You're just going to cash more tickets that way, especially for your key horses. Now, are there times when you have to play a closer? It depends on situations. For instance, say I'm playing a pick 4, and I'm going to concentrate on these type of horses anyway. Most of my, for most of my picks. But let's just say there's a horse in one of the races that I think is going to go off like 15, 20 to 1, and he's a deep closer, and there's a lot of speed in the race, and I really don't like to key a horse like that, or bet him to win. I don't like to bet him to win. I don't like to key him in on top in trifectas or superfectas. But in a pick 4, I might throw him in because he's in form. The race could set up for him, and maybe he'll pop and pay a big price, which will help my pick 4. So in situations like that, sure, I'm going to throw some of those horses in, even though they're against the percentages. They're running. They're literally running against the percentages. But for key horses, like if you're betting to win or you're looking to key horse on top in trifectas, for instance, or superfectas, you don't want those horses. You just let them beat you. Most of the time, you're better off, concentrating on horses that you leave the gate well. They don't have to necessarily be on the lead or even like sitting second, but they have to be close enough so they can make a run. You want to look for horses that are only going to be 2-3 lengths back, and you can see going back to this track bias report here. I mean, you can see that on average the winners are right. That win these races at 6 furlongs are right on top of the pace at the first and second call. So if you go down now, let's go down to a different race. We'll go down to the 10th race. So the 10th race is 1 mile and a 16th on turf. So now it's a different story. So now there have been 73 races, this meet at Tampa Bay, up to this date. This is March 11th. We're in April now. This is April 26th, 2023, but this is for March 11th. So there were 23 races up to that point. Now here you can see that the early horses won 16% of the time, going 1 mile and a 16th on turf. But the EP horses, the ones who sit right behind the speed, they won 36% of the time. So early speed still did pretty well, even though it's 1 mile and a 16th race on turf. And then the pressers did well too, 29%. The sustained horses did better than the E horses. Now again, this is turf, so it's a lot different. It's a longer race, and it's on turf, which is much kinder to closers. But still, on average, you can see that most of the winners are still pretty close to the pace. Like at the second call, they're usually only a length and a half behind. So what's happening is, they're rushing up into the, on the turn to establish position. So it's not like a lot of horses are coming from dead last in the stretch. But, here it's a little different because you can bet your EPs, you can bet your Ps, and you can bet your sustain if they're priced. Your E horses, you really, the 16%, you really want to get a better price unless for some reason you see that the turf course is drying out and speed is holding up. But you want to concentrate on 1 mile and 16th to Tampa Bay on the turf. You want to concentrate on the EPs and the Ps. And again, you're going to see that right here. Here's the EPs, and then the P. Here's the P, All American Beauty. So, it is significant because it's hard to buck the percentages. If you're constantly bucking the percentages, you're going to end up with a lot of losing tickets. So if you see there's a strong trend at a particular distance, you want to bet into that trend. You don't want to bet against it. You know what I'm saying? And if you are betting against it, you better make sure you're getting good odds, because you're probably not going to win your bet, But for the occasion when you do cash that bet, you want it to pay big to make up for all the losers. So, but anyway, that's my power pace segment on the Brisnet styles. I'll be going over a lot of pace handicapping on this YouTube channel for thoroughbred racing and harness racing also. So make sure you click on the subscribe button. It's free. This way, you help me out my YouTube channel. I want to make sure people are subscribing, so I have a following on here, and just keep an eye on my page for more videos. And good luck. Thanks.